There's a new ship for Carnival coming here to the US. And I'm gonna teach you a secret way you can be the first person to book on board. Plus, as predicted, another US-based cruise line is dropping pre-embarkation COVID testing. It's coming, folks, and I made an oopsie in yesterday's episode that I need to correct. Let's roll the intro. Hey, welcome to the Midships channel. I'm your Captain Corey. Thank you so much for stopping by today. And right now, I'm just 3 days away from my next cruise. Wait, Captain Corey, you said your next cruise was July 16th. About that, I was able to add on another 7 days to my cruise on board the MSC Seashore, which means this Saturday, July the 9th, I'm heading out on the ship for 7 additional nights. So I'm doing the back-to-back cruise, which is exactly what I had said I was gonna try to do this year, way back in January when I made my New Year's resolutions episode. So I'm gonna be walking you through the entire process of doing a back-to-back cruise aboard the MSC Cruise Line, showing you how the testing works and showing you how you need to be an advocate for yourself as a cruiser in 2022. Also, along the way, I'll be taking you to Miami, San Juan, St. Thomas, the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, Grand Cayman, Cozumel, as well as 2 stops at Ocean Key. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of cool places. So get subscribed to this channel if you don't want to miss all my vlogs from those amazing places in the Caribbean and Mexico. All right, let's get things started with our question of the day for today. And I'm gonna set the scene for you on this one. Imagine you're on a cruise and you're in a predicament because the show that you wanted to see is at the exact same time that the comedian you wanted to see is also performing. Let me know in the comments below, would you go to the show or would you go see the comedian? Very cool, baby, yeah. Can you tell I just watched Austin Powers? Anyways, in yesterday's Midships episode, we talked about the Norwegian sun striking a growler iceberg up in Alaska. And I want to address a mistake that I made in the Chiron, which is one of these little things right down here. It's the little purple and blue thing. I said in that Chiron that the Norwegian Joy struck the iceberg, which is not accurate. And I apologize to all of you who rely on my information, but to err is human, and I wanted to let you know that I erred. Hopefully you can forgive me, and I give you permission to roast me down in the comments below this video. But make it something more original than you can't captain a toy boat in your own bathtub, even though that's still my all-time favorite roast. All right, let's get into today's cruise news. Like I teased, there's a new ship for Carnival Cruise Line coming to the US, and I've got a way that you can become one of the first people to be able to book on board her. Yeah, because you're watching this channel, you're ahead of the game. Carnival Cruise Line has a new experience coming called Costa by Carnival. They're bringing over 2 ships to join the US-based Carnival fleet in the coming couple of years. One of those ships is currently called the Costa Luminosa. She's slated to be transformed into the Carnival Luminosa. And interestingly enough, we didn't believe she'd be getting a repaint or any updates. However, according to a render posted on John Heald's Facebook page this morning, it does appear that Carnival is indeed planning on rebranding the Costa ship to the Carnival Red, White, and Blue, even on the funnel. So now we'll have a couple or a few Carnival cruise ships cruising here in the US with interesting looking funnels, no whale tails. And yes, I'm talking about the Carnival Freedom still. But let's get down to brass tacks here, because if you want to be one of the first people to potentially book a cruise on board the Carnival Luminosa, well, I've got a link for you in the description below this video. It'll take you to a sign-up page on Carnival's website. It's just carnival.com/Carnival Luminosa, all one word. And all you gotta do is go there, put in your VIFP number, your name, and your email. And Carnival is gonna let you know as soon as you're able to book on board the Luminosa. Now, it's expected that the Luminosa is going to go through some mild or moderate updates in the next few months. I'm pretty excited for both of these ships to come over here to the US. As many of you know, I'm taking an Alaska cruise on Carnival next month aboard the Carnival Splendor, which is also an Aussie-based cruise ship. And interestingly enough, it's got Aussie-based plugs in the staterooms. Yeah, it's a little weird V-shaped thing. I've not seen it before. It says 240 volts or something. I don't know. It was odd to me. It stuck out. And if you want to see some inside vlogs, photos, and tips from aboard that ship, get subscribed to the channel because there's a lot of content coming out from Alaska here in the next month or so. And I guess it's a great time to remind you that if you'd like to cruise with me, I am in fact hosting a group cruise this October 24th aboard the Carnival Sunshine out of Charleston, South Carolina. And here's a link, and there's also one down in the description. All right, on to our next cruise news story. And this is gonna be a foot in mouth story for me because all along we've been talking about COVID restrictions loosening aboard cruise ships. And I've said all along that if you're COVID conscious, it's probably a good idea to book a Norwegian Cruise Line, as their CEO Frank Del Rio had come out with the most aggressive stance of all the other cruise CEOs against COVID. And what I mean by that is he had the strictest policies and remediation and prevention methods that we had seen across cruise lines. Well, old Captain Corey's foot meets mouth for the second time in today's episode, because Norwegian has just announced they're dropping the requirement that passengers test negative for COVID before sailing with the line, except where it's required by law that they do test. And that's gonna start really soon. August 1st, as a matter of fact. It goes into effect on board all Norwegian cruise ships, except, like I said, where local restrictions are in place that require testing. Now, some of the places that will still require testing to get on board include Canada, Bermuda, Greece, and the USA, which means here in the US, if you're a Norwegian cruiser, you're still pre-cruise testing, so don't celebrate just yet. Now, there would be a way around this requirement in the US for all cruise lines, and that would be to remove themselves from the CDC's voluntary conditional sailing order, of which pretty much all the cruise lines here in the US are a part of. For their part, Norwegian says they're relaxing their testing policy to be in line with other sectors of travel all around the world. So now we've seen Carnival start to aggressively roll out non-tested cruises in the UK, and we're suddenly seeing Norwegian Cruise Line say, we don't need to test at all. And just last week, Royal's CEO came out and said in 2 months, you might not have to test to board one of their ships. It's coming, folks. Get ready for it. So this is a perfect time to sound off in the comment section down below. Does this make you want to cruise with Norwegian more or less? What do you think about this dropping of pre-embarkation COVID testing? I forgot to start my background and zoom in on this cruise nerd shirt, so that's why it changed. Now remember that a few weeks ago, the US CDC actually came out and said they're starting to reevaluate some of their stances on COVID protocols for cruise. So could we see the CDC actually be the catalyst for change here in the US? It remains to be seen, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. Remember, they removed the mask mandate for onboard airlines federally a few months ago, which means why wouldn't they remove certain cruise mandates, including the unpopular pre-cruise testing, especially given the fact that the CDC is going to want these cruise operators to continue to stay within their voluntary framework for cruising. And if other countries around the world are allowing their cruise passengers to embark without having to go through the headache of a pre-cruise COVID test, it's only going to be a matter of time before some cruise operator here in the USA says no, and they just take themselves out of the voluntary program and they circumvent the testing rule. And that wouldn't surprise me at all, because cruise lines are a business after all, and why would they want their customers to arbitrarily jump through hoops that nobody else has to? Okay, do you remember that brawl that happened on the Carnival Magic up in New York last week? Well, a lot of people on social media have been roasting Carnival and the people who cruise on it, and unfairly if you ask me. And some of the loyal to Royal folks have maybe pointed their noses just ever so slightly higher towards the ceiling in the past week. Well, don't speak up too soon, folks, because there's video emerging of another giant brawl on a cruise ship. This time on Royal Caribbean's Navigator of the Seas, right in the Royal Promenade. And I'm gonna tell you about it as soon as I remind you that if you're a cruiser, you can't afford to not at least check out my Amazon Influencers cruise page. There's a link to it below this video and up here in one of these corners. In there, you'll find everything I take with me every time I cruise, like this sweet passport book. But maybe even more importantly, if you love cruising and you want to support this channel, just clicking on those links in my Amazon store does help do that. Perhaps the best way to support it is to wear like a shirt like this Cruise Nerd shirt on your next cruise. There's dozens of original Midships cruise designs in there, all made by me. Check them out in the Amazon link below. All right, let's get back to this story about the big fight that happened on Navigator of the Seas. This is reported to have happened last week, and it all went down on Deck 5 outside the Cafe Promenade, the late night pizza slice place, if you don't know the names. And you can see the video of this scene. It's chaotic. People are punching and shoving each other. Security is running around trying to break up the whole thing. Now, Navigator of the Seas is currently operating West Coast cruises out of LA, and they're short cruises, which seems to be a little bit rowdier of a crowd in my experience at least. Taking short versus long cruises on the exact same ship, that's been my experience. People just seem to turn up a little bit more on those short 3 and 4 night cruises, and some people like to call them booze cruises even. Now, I'm not sure if alcohol was a part of the problem on this cruise, if there was some sort of jealousy or argument or insults that were thrown. I'll definitely keep an eye out to see if any new information shakes out from what went down on the Navigator of the Seas just the other day. But for all of you folks out there who say, wow, Carnival Cruise Lines or Carnival Cruise are this, that, or the other thing, and I'm not surprised that a fight would break out on board one, well, this goes to show you that people will be people no matter what cruise line they're on. But we here at the Midships family, we're lovers, not fighters, and this is not the way we're gonna act on a cruise ship, especially if you're wearing one of my Midships t-shirts. Gosh darn it, don't you ever turn up in a social media video like that one. This is not the way to act on your cruise, or any cruise for that matter. Hey, I gotta get running. It's time to start packing for my MSC Seashore cruise that leaves this Saturday. Thanks for stopping by the channel today, and until tomorrow, we'll see ya on the Midships. Almost forgot to do the hand thing. If you notice, it's glasses day. Man, my right eye has been real sore. Hoping to get back to contacts because this light reflection, I know it's really annoying. Hey, I gotta pack for the seashore. It's gonna be a really good time. I've got some special stuff planned, and I might even be in touch with someone at MSC. We'll see about that. Catch you tomorrow. La 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 la.